2022 is now come to an end and it was pretty eventful. I started my YouTube journey halfway through the year and I also reached 1,000 subscribers, which I'm extremely thankful for. However, it is now the new year and that means we should all have a bunch of New Year's resolutions. I personally have a few I want to achieve outside of Rocket League, but for Rocket League, I have made it my goal to get GC 1 in 1s and GC 3 in 2s, so I have a lot of grinding to do. And so do you. So let me know down in the comments what your Rocket League goals are for 2023. If you have goals to improve and rank up, then this video is for you, because I am going to give you one mechanic for each rank that you should learn in 2023 to rank up. Each mechanic will start easy and get progressively more difficult, but every single mechanic is essential to learn if you want to be dominant in your ranked games. So even though there will be mechanics for each ranks to learn, if you're a higher rank and you can't do some of the mechanics below your rank, then before you learn your mechanic, I advise you to learn the earlier ones. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now first we're going to start with bronze, and honestly, this is a very small percentage of players, and really you shouldn't even be thinking about mechanics at this point. All you should be doing is playing the game. Just start to gain an understanding of how your car moves, how to jump, flip, and how to drive on the walls. However, this is a video about mechanics, so if I had to give you something to learn, it would be to learn to flip into the ball. This is extremely simple, but maybe not the most intuitive for new players. But flipping into the ball allows you to hit the ball with more power. It also gives you a little more control on the precision of your shots. So if you've only just started playing Rocket League, this is probably the only mechanic you should be thinking about learning. Other than that, just enjoy the game. It's not that complex, just hit the ball into the net. Now we're on to silver. Silver is still a very small percentage of the rank population. You're probably at the point where you have a bit more understanding of how your car moves, but you still struggle to make solid contact with the ball. And when you do, it doesn't always go where you want it to go. And there's probably a lot of times where you're trying to save the ball and you're just not in the right position. This mechanic is going to help you with changing direction quickly and correcting your position. There are a lot of times where you need to turn around quickly to get back on defense, or you're just in a position where it's too awkward to hit the ball. And that's why the mechanic you should learn as a silver player should be the half flip. I have already made a video on everything you need to know about the half flip, which will be in the description below, so I'll just give a brief explanation. The half flip is the ability to turn 180 degrees by cancelling a back flip. This is extremely useful to use when you're out of position and you need to change direction fast. Of course, there are times when you can just turn around, however if you do not have enough boost or momentum, turning will take way too much time. So instead, you half flip. Now I chose the half flip because it's a very simple mechanic to learn, but it is essential to know how to use it from the lowest ranks to the pro level. There are two ways to half flip and I advise you learn both because they are both good for different situations. However, if you want more information, then I highly suggest you watch my half flip tutorial. When you reach gold, you're probably at a point where you're no longer just hopelessly jumping at the ball hoping that it will go in. You're starting to have an understanding of how to flip into the ball, and maybe you're even going for a few aerials. However, you still lack the ability to control the ball in any way. And I think there is simply no better way to understand ball control other than learning this mechanic. So my mechanic for you gold players to learn in 2023 is dribbling with the ball on top of your car. Dribbling with the ball on top of your car is one of the only situations where you have complete possession and complete control of the ball. Here you have endless opportunities on how to beat your opponents, whether that be a flick, air dribble, low 50-50, and even more possibilities. Now obviously you're not going to be able to do all of those straight away, however learning to dribble is essential and provides the foundation for you to be able to do all of these mechanics in the future. Now my opinion, this is probably going to be extremely difficult for your skill level, and I don't expect you to master it straight away. However, if you can start learning how to dribble at this level, then you'll probably have it down pretty solid by the time you hit around diamond. And even me myself didn't start learning to dribble until I was in diamond, so I can assure you if you start to practice this mechanic at this stage, you will have a huge advantage over the competition. So now we are moving to a larger population of Rocket League, Platinum. Now this one's a little weird because I feel like Plat is where players first start to choose a path and what they want to do with Rocket League. I feel like Plat has such a weird gap in skill. You have Plat players that can air dribble, but then you have players that can't even aerial properly. That's why this rank was a little difficult to single out one mechanic. However, I think this one mechanic is something that improves your speed and efficiency by a huge amount. And that is the double jump aerials, and more importantly, the fast aerial. If you're in Plat, you most likely don't have very strong aerial car control, and most of you probably aerial by just jumping once and holding boost. However, in order to improve how quickly you can reach the ball in the air, you want to learn how to use your double jump. This not only is faster than the aerial, but it requires significantly less boost. All you need to do is double jump, tilt back, and hold boost. However, an even better way to do this is by using the fast aerial, and that is to do everything while holding boost. So you start by holding boost, hold your jump button, tilt back, press your second jump, all still while holding boost. If you practice this, I promise you, you'll be beating everyone to the ball in your rank, and you'll be wasting less boost, which will help you in your rank games in Plat. We are now at Diamond, where the majority of the Rocket League player base lies. If you are currently Diamond, then you're in the same boat as 39% of Rocket League players. Diamond rank is at a point where you should be able to do most basic mechanics on a surface level, so now it's about getting consistent while also increasing the speed at which you do it. And for this one, there are kind of two mechanics that I want to talk about, however they're both linked, and that is the use of power slide and air roll. Now the reason these two are linked is because in my opinion it is almost essential to have these bound on the same button. And that is because you physically cannot use them both at the same time, so if you don't already have them bound to the same button, please change it. Now what I mean by learning to use power slide is that you can keep momentum when you hold power slide when you land. So instead of spinning out when you don't land properly, your car sort of just glides along the floor. Also, it's important to learn to use free air roll to correct your car when landing. If you don't land on all four wheels, then you won't land correctly. And if you don't land correctly, then you'll rotate back on defense significantly slower. So learning to use air roll to land on four wheels and holding power slide to keep momentum is incredibly important when increasing the speed of your gameplay. If you get comfortable with this in Diamond, you'll even see how much faster you are than the people in your rank. You'll rotate faster, beat your opponents to the ball, and you'll probably always have more boost than the rest of the lobby. So becoming aware of these mechanics early will be really important when you start to climb ranks. So you finally reach champion, meaning you're starting to reach the higher ranks in the game. However, there is still so much to learn even at this point, but you're at a point where you're confident enough to try and learn new things, which is always a good thing. Remembering to have fun with the game is important, otherwise you'll burn out. However, it's also important not to neglect the boring things. And one mechanic that I value quite higher than most people, and the one that I'm choosing for you champ players to learn, is the speed flip. Now I have made a video on the speed flip which goes into a lot of detail on why it's important to learn, so if you haven't learned this mechanic then I highly suggest you check it out in the description below. But the speed flip helps with many things, one being kickoffs, and honestly a lot of the times you concede your goals could be because your kickoff is lacking, especially in 1s or 2s. If you lose the kickoff, your opponents could be in a position when they have boost and possession and you're trying to rotate back, or you could just completely lose the kickoff and concede straight away. There are also many benefits to learning the speed flip, however they are all in my speed flip video, so if you're champ or you haven't learned the speed flip before, go to the description and check out the video on it. If you are in Grand Champ, then you're in the top 2% of Rocket League, and is also one rank away from the highest rank in the game. However, even though Grand Champion is one away from SSL, in terms of skill level, you're probably only about halfway. GC is where you really have to hone on your basic skills to make them as consistent as possible. Only then will you start to climb the ranks. Even for me, I first reached GC in Season 3 and it's now Season 9 and I'm still only GC 2. I've over doubled my hours since I first got to GC 1, however I've only gone up one rank. But I know I've improved incredibly during this process, so I know it's not for nothing. For this rank, you need a mechanic that helps you in multiple places on the field, and the mechanic I choose may surprise you, and that is the air dribble. Now the air dribble is obviously good for offensive capability, but also there are situations on defense that it can be extremely effective. In the past, I've talked about how power clears are incredibly important when your opponents are playing aggressive. However, when you have opponents that are being passive, you're simply going to give away possession. Now this is where the air dribble comes in. If you're positioned on the backboard and your opponents are playing slightly passive, choosing to air dribble allows you to carry the ball far into their half and still allows you to keep possession or play a 50-50. Whereas if you were to just clear the ball, then you now give away the ball and you're not in a good position for defense. So practice the air dribble from all positions of the field and you'll find out how useful they can be whatever the situation is. Now if you're at SSL, then there's probably not one mechanic that can help everyone improve, because when you're at that level, you should be able to do all of the previous mechanics very consistently as well as other basic mechanics. So if you can't do any of the mechanics below, then I suggest you start by learning them. They are all extremely useful and for your skill level, they shouldn't take long to learn. Now for SSL, I can't really give one mechanic to this rank because everyone plays in completely different styles. You have the extremely mechanical players, but then you have the reliable, consistent players that don't use flashy mechanics. So if you're SSL, I would look to expand your offense. Look for one offensive mechanic, could be the flip reset, or expanding your range of double taps, or something else. But look for one mechanic and master it. Yes, some mechanics aren't essential, but it is never a bad thing to expand your offensive arsenal. So find one mechanic and keep practicing it. So there you have it, one mechanic for you to focus on learning in 2023. I decided to post this video as my first video of the year because the new year is usually when motivation is at an all-time high. And a lot of the time, people neglect learning new things and they just go on, play ranked, and then come off. And while that's not entirely a bad thing, if you don't train and practice in Rocket League, you simply just won't improve very fast. And that's when you start to see people that are stuck in ranks for hundreds of hours because they don't do anything to actually improve. So I hope you can find this video helpful and pick a mechanic to really focus on and improve at for the start of the year. But of course, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I haven't been as consistent lately for personal reasons, but now I'm back and I'm ready to drop more content for 2023. So if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe down below. And don't forget to comment what your Rocket League goals are for 2023. And if you want to support me further, then use code OneEyedGhoul in the support a creator section when you go to buy something in Rocket League. But anyways, that's all from me for now. I'll see you guys next time.